Good morning. We'd like to welcome everybody to the Mesa City Council study session for the morning of Thursday, January 5th. I look to see that all of our council are present, and I have to blink a little bit because we've got some new faces. We had a great event last night where we swore in our newly elected council members, Alicia Goforth from District 5, and welcomed the return of Scott Summers in District 6, and celebrated the return of our Vice Mayor, Jen Duff. So all of our council is present, and I remarked last night that I'm proud of this guy. I wouldn't trade this council for any council that I'm aware of in the state of Arizona. This is a great group of people, and I appreciate the citizens of Mesa sending their best to the Mesa City Council. I'm looking forward to working with these folks. The first item on our agenda is to review the agenda for our Monday, January 9th meeting. So council, please refer to that document. Mr. Brady, I know we only have the what used to be called the CAFR is off the consent. Remind me what we call it now?
The ACFR.
The ACFR, thank you.
It's not comprehensive anymore.
Yeah, okay.
It's only annual.
The ACFR is off, but
It's not as important.
it's got its moments. Is there anything on the agenda that staff would like to talk about?
I don't think so, Mayor. We, some of the items are just carried forward from the last meeting. They're the second reading of those.
Right.
So we didn't have anything specifically.
Great. I didn't think you did.
Presentation, but certainly we're here to answer any questions you might have.
Council, any questions on Monday night's agenda?
Mayor, I have a quick question for Mr. Brady and possibly Jim on item 5D. So this is a contract option for renewals. I'm hoping I'm calling out the right one. Is this one for gas for fleet services? Fuel for fleet services. So we have a contract in place, and the contractor hasn't been able to supply gas and diesel on occasion. What is the source of that?
What is the source?
What was the issue that they're not able to supply the gas and diesel so that we have to go out for a second backup contract?
Well, we had to go get a second contract to get the fuel. So here we go.
Also, Mr. Brady, looking in the notes, used his authority as an emergency to purchase that fuel, and I appreciate that. Was police vehicles, fire trucks, and our solid waste need those items, so I commend you on that.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, Councilmember Summers, welcome back. Ed Quaidens, Business Services Director. I'm joined by Christy Garcia, our Procurement Administrator, and Mike Lewis, our Assistant Fleet Services Director. This issue that we're having is just an extension of what we're all seeing with the supply chain. The vendor has issues, the market has issues, and they've all kind of culminated in this. This contract was awarded through a reverse auction. So the reverse auction process drove the prices down. So the vendor has very tight margins on this. We also are partners on this contract. So not only is this supplying Mesa, it's also Mesa Public Schools, City of Glendale, Town of Gilbert, and a couple others. So we want to be careful on how we address the vendor issues. It's not as simple as it would be a few years ago where we just cancel because of vendor performance. We do have other considerations, and we also do have the opportunity with this action to provide a secondary source of fuel, which we really think is an important advantage to add to our portfolio on this important commodity. And the end result, too, is that the state contract has prices that are very comparable to the contract that we established.
Okay, so the prices really for the fuel we'll get from the secondary contractor will be comparable to what we would get with the vendor under contract?
Yeah, I think Christy and Mike have more information on how that works out.
Sure. So the synergy pricing, or the pricing for the secondary contract, we find that the unleaded fuel prices are actually cheaper than the current contract, but the diesel prices, depending on the size of the load, there's a different charge for 1,000 gallons or less, 1,000 to 4,000 gallons, and above 4,000 gallons. So the price varies on that depending on the tank that we're filling. But overall, when we look at the comparison and over the months, it's within a couple $1,000s of the contract between the two contracts.
Okay.
They can deliver, yes, they have the commodities that we need to deliver.
And I think you shared that even Synergy is not immune to supply challenges when it comes to
Yes.
getting an order.
All the vendors are running into allocation problems, what they can get from the diesel racks, whether it be the B20, the diesel or unleaded. So when they run up to their limit, they can't get any more. We have to swap from vendor to vendor, see which one is available to deliver to us at the time.
All right. Is this like natural gas where they just have the one pipeline coming in, or do we have multiple sources of
Yeah, so the
diesel?
Kinder Morgan pipeline is one pipeline, and they run all the different commodities through it to the rack.
All right, and it just depends on whether they can get it or not.
Yep,
All right.
and what each different vendor is allocated to for quarter month. Once they run out of their allocations, they can't get any more, and we have to go to the next vendor.
Yeah, and from what I read, our vendor under contract was in support of us getting a secondary contract.
Yes.
All right, very good, thank you.
Thank you. Council, other questions regarding Monday night's agenda?
Hate to do this, Mayor.
Please.
At the advice of council, I'm going to request to abstain from 8A, or conflict out, excuse me, from 8A and 8B.
All right. Thank you. I understand that. That's related to your wife's employment, and we appreciate you doing the right thing and making us aware of that.
Thank you.
So that will necessitate it coming off of the consent agenda, will it not, Mr. Smith?
Right.
All right. Thank you. I have a question on 8. Yes, okay, thank you. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Or you can go ahead. So I wanted to review 8A and its proposed use and development and the rezone of it. And I can just go ahead and ask questions. First of all, this morning I was trying to catch up with the P&Z minutes. I couldn't find it on video, or, you know, the P&Z minutes are not included. So I wanted to review that. We still have time until Monday. Also, there's a lot of controversy about the use, the type of development for this rezone, and whether it is complementary to AT Still in that overlay that we had planned some time ago. So I have some concerns about that, and I wanted to also have some questions. Someone from Economic Development here? Okay, Bill. I warned him last night. I'm gonna have some questions for you. So, remembering back when I did see the planning and zoning video, which I couldn't find recently this morning to review again, that part of the argument was that it hadn't been no activity for that land for all these years, and therefore this would be a best use to go ahead and go forward with. And talking with AT Still, they said about 10 years ago, they attempted to buy the property, but the owner didn't realize they had the property. They had done an acquisition of properties, and it was in a group. And the tenant at the time had no idea that they even owned it. And so that information was lost in the acquisition. And so over that, and I know in 2007, we're going back, 2007, they had the hospital. That was the failed project, right? Then it sat vacant. About 10 years ago, AT Still had an interest in acquiring it, and they couldn't get any information from the owner to even know that they had the property from a change in acquisition. And so I think for a number of years, it just sat inactive. I'm guessing, and that's what I would like to ask from you, inactive because the owner really didn't know that they had it. And have, over this amount of time, through economic development, my question is, were there inquiries or efforts on economic development to fulfill that land slot and the use and to complement the medical campus and provide that type of employment? Or has it just been completely dead and on our side and on the property owner side?
So Tenet Healthcare has owned that land for 15 plus years that I'm aware of. They have been at different times willing to entertain healthcare development, but recently that model changed and you have now a willing seller to other uses. To the question of did economic development market that, we tried to talk about that whole corridor being a medical from AT Still to that parcel all the way back through the piece that's in Gilbert where Banner Gateway is located and adjacent to it. We were trying to put that out there. That didn't get any traction. There was no interest. There was more interest in expanding around the hospital, the existing piece that's in Gilbert. So again, the market's changed in the last couple of years. You know, I have a willing seller. I can't answer to the piece 10 years ago. I'm not aware of they're willing to sell or not back then. But AT Still has been, engaged with us, and we try to meet with them yearly to talk about what their growth plans are. We've talked about that parcel a couple of different times, but again, without a willing developer, which you now have because of market changes. That's what's changed today. We've been very careful, I think, working with planning to make sure it's not a big warehouse and logistics play. It is more of a manufacturing type opportunity where you still have easy access. And then the abutter to the west is United Parcel Service. So keep in mind to this parcel as well, you already have a lot of activity in there. So
By just title alone, Baseline Logistics is the name of the project. It makes me think that it's going to be logistics. Logistics is Amazon and UPS, FedEx, those kinds of companies. So it gives me a little pause is, do they have any proposed tenants for this project yet?
not that we've been told of. I agree with you. Baseline logistics may not be the best description in the world, but I think we've worked very closely in coming up with a development agreement that limits the types of uses and very careful with the word warehouse and logistics in that
Bill,
development.
kind of talk about what that means. We've limited the number of docks, I'm assuming, and access and how trucks get in and out.
So when you think about warehouse and logistics means you're moving products, and that means there's a lot of truck traffic. We are trying to limit that, and when you have, usually what we talk about cross docks, there's docks on the other side. The goods come in one side and they go out the other. We don't want that in that location. We want more of an employment base. Matter of fact, one of the first things that we did with planning was downsize the buildings that are closer to, what's the street that runs?
Inverness.
Inverness, right? So downsize some of the buildings so a little more accommodating to the abutters that are there. Mountain Vista Medical Center did buy a parcel that is on Baseline, north side of Baseline recently as well. So there has been an effort to try to do that, but again, it comes up to a willing seller, a willing developer. But I agree on Baseline Logistics as well. It's not a good name.
So, do we have any idea, has it on the market for a long period? We don't have any idea on that,
Not
okay.
top of my head, no.
And I didn't see the development agreement in with the documents. Can we have that added before Monday?
You will have it shortly. I think there was a word or two that went back to the attorney that we're negotiating over, but that was as of Tuesday. So I think you'll have it here promptly.
And so just in summary, and I'll let you go,
Yep.
is you did try to market it in any interest for more of a medical employment type of use and
Sure.
were unsuccessful. There were efforts, or we just kind of waited
They
for
go
something
back
to
a
come
few
to the
years,
table?
yes, but again, anytime you can anchor around a Banner facility, that's an employment center. And you try to get that, but again, that's now in Gilbert. And you cross over the east side of Higley is still in Gilbert. So we need to extend that, and the healthcare people that we talk to were not interested in going down that far. They want to be closer to the hospital.
Even though we had a university with students who are being trained in medical.
But again, it's,
Disciplines.
think about, the type of training and specifically, you got the dental clinic that's there as well. But when you talk about physical therapy training and different things, that's great. But if you have somebody focused on heart or cancer that's there, they're not always going to be worried about what's at the university. So again, it's like the long-term vision, AT Still's right on it. That's what it was. But it's changed when your seller then decides to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same site, right, that there was I think there's a physical therapy center or something out front, but this is the property immediately in front that faces Baseline that has the most exposure, sat for a very long time, and I think that's the reason that they came in the council just approved the multifamily. They're right in front of AT Still on a piece of property that, staff kept trying to hold on to hope that would be a medical support facility, and that just didn't happen. And so you had a developer come in and say, let's put in multifamily. This property is now further back, or further north, I guess.
Correct.
So it sits further back from baseline. Even baseline's a stretch to suggest, is there some kind of connection with this property? But sits back further. And I think because it is closer to the UPS center, you could, as you see the context of that property, it sits back. It's not got a lot of exposure. If you're trying to be a business that wants to have frontage, it kind of sits back, hidden back, not hidden, but it's
And it
deeper
does
into
have-
the property.
It does have significant exposure to the 60 as well.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if it did find a medical use, we were talking in the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting about a number of employees per square foot, and certainly having a medical use rather than logistics or warehousing or manufacturing.
Right.
Certainly would achieve your goals and more employment. So I'll continue to study it and question how long it had been on the market and how much opportunity it had. And so thank you.
Ms. Pillsbury.
I don't know what to add in with this or not, because I have a lot of information on this since I've had a lot of meetings. But my understanding is that this is what I heard, if medical buildings went in there, the hospital wasn't going to give the doctors rights to the hospital there. So
I don't know.
I don't know
Anybody
either,
could
but
know
that would also deter, doctors aren't going to want to go in there if they can't have rights to the hospital that's right there. So that would be a huge reason why medical doesn't work there either.
But I will tell you that,
Yeah.
rights to the hospital, that's simply, when you're credentialed, when the hospital boards approve your ability to use the hospital, they can locate nearby, they can locate within whatever distance they choose. A doctor in Northeast Mesa might have access to Banner Gateway. So that's the type of thing that a hospital decides, and a doctor's office is looking to concentrate. We've got doctors now, like just to use an example, at Elliott Ellsworth looking to be next to the Dignity facility. I have to get the developer to develop it. They don't want to build it, they don't want to own it, they simply want to lease the property.
And if you do look at that banner going east and going west, it's building out all those medical buildings right there, right around Banner. The other point I just wanted to make, again, what I heard, was that information about it sitting vacant and that they didn't know that they had it isn't accurate. So I think you're meeting with the lawyer later, so maybe that, anyways, so some of the information going around is maybe not accurate.
Yes.
This button?
Ms. Goforth, yes.
Not
Yeah,
yours.
the blue button.
Rachel, I know you and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but can you tell me again the explanation for how it continues to conform to the general plan, going to light industrial, from, is it a specialty district for medical campus?
Sure. So the general plan character designation for this is specialty medical campus. So currently, the zoning and the proposed rezone are primary zoning districts within this character area. And there is requirements in the general plan that a certain percentage of the specialty district be established with primary zoning before secondary can be established. And this is already established with the percentage of primary zoning. The proposed zoning is primary. We know there are some arguments about the proposed uses, but as Bill has mentioned, we do not know the end users yet. So that is the reason for the D8, for us to restrict certain uses on the property and to ensure that they are compatible with the surrounding developments and with the intent of that character area.
Do we have anyone from AT Still with us this morning? I know we've talked about continuing this case in the past just to make sure we have ample opportunity for AT Still and the developer to meet so that any concerns about compatibility between the two can be mitigated. And I'll just repeat again to AT Still, we need you to engage on this project. We're anxious to get to hear what your concerns are. But if you don't step up, you know, we're going to march forward. So I've said that privately to them, and we've made attempts to schedule, but I just need to reiterate that how much we appreciate having a medical school in our city. That's a big deal. We're very proud to be the home of AT Still, but I need them to engage with the developer so that we can, if there are some rough corners on this project that need to be knocked off and we need to do things to make it a better fit, let's do it. But you need to step up and engage in the process if we're going to do that. And I'm willing to continue this case if there's dialogue going on. But right now, I don't see any dialogue.
Not used to this side. I also I think it's slide 8, just talks about some of the changes that were made after that letter of opposition. And so I just think those are important to point out, because one of the main concerns was the truck traffic. And so they're going to close off the circles so that that road doesn't go through, so that there won't be all of any truck traffic going through the street next to their campus. So I think that's huge. And then also they've drastically increased the setbacks. In fact, even on the east side, I think it's bigger than this. Haven't they doubled it since this picture?
Mayor,
I don't know.
Councilmember, this should be correct.
Oh, this is correct. Okay. Well, so they doubled the setback amount. Maybe this doesn't look like it on here, but they doubled the setback from the side of UPS to the side with AT Still. So there have been some big changes made to try to help AT Still.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Quick request. Can we have the opposition letter from AT Still scanned and included in the documents so I can find it and read
Yes,
it?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, it should be in there as part of
Okay.
the
I
citizen
missed it then.
participation report. But we will double check that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Cloud at AT Still, and we had a great conversation. However, I asked him why their campus has not been expanded. You know, they have additional acreage to the north of this campus, and he says, you know, as a school, they're very frugal, and they only expand, you know, so often, and it's been quite a few years. So I asked him about his opposition to the development to the west, and he was concerned about the traffic and not being conforming to, you know, a medical type campus. And I said, well, what if there's medical manufacturing or some type of manufacturing on this, you know, this type of development? Because that would maybe accent or complement what you're trying to do, and you may expand some of your programs to, you know, work in this arena. So we had a good conversation. At the end of the day, I just felt like, you know, this is not a bad project for, you know, complementing AT Still, and they do have acreage to expand. And so I'm still kind of riding the fence on this, but I still think that they do have, again, to reiterate, room to expand and be a bigger campus. I also had a son go to school there, and I appreciate them because they are very thorough and a great medical facility. So I'll end with that.
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilmember, I know years ago, this board approved a monument sign for AT Still, years ago. And I know that was the thought of with expansion and identification and growth in mind. So, but I can't even tell you that was probably more than 10 years ago.
I know that the sign was approved during this last time that the developer was going to,
For the apartments.
oh, that was for the apartments.
They're putting in a sign up for the YMCA, but there is the AT Still Monument Board that's to the east
Yep, that's correct.
on the empty lot that they bought. That's anyways, and then they're doing the YMCA one where the apartments are.
Right.
Just go
Just
for it.
to, so, as Mark said, this project can complement, but to ensure it complements what's there is the development agreement, correct?
Mayor, Councilmember Goldforth, that's correct, yes.
All right, well, it feels like this is still baking a little bit, but we'll see if it's ready to put in the oven on Monday or not. But again, I encourage the developer and AT Still to talk, and this seems like it's ripe for an agreement in my mind. Okay, council, any other agenda items on Monday's agenda that we ought to discuss? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item 2, is to take action on appointments to various boards and committees. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Mr. Freeman and Ms. Spilsbury. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that passes unanimously. Item 3 is to acknowledge receipt of minutes, meeting minutes of various boards and committees. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Ms. Spilsbury and Mr. Freeman. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Any opposed? That passes unanimously as well. Next item on our agenda is current events and conferences attended. We've been off for a while, so this could take an hour, I know, if we really wanted to talk about all that we've been doing the last month. And I'm not discouraging that. I'm anxious to get caught up. So who would like to go first?
I'll jump in.
Okay,
Jeez.
thank you.
We have so much to talk about that none of us are just kind of looking at each other. I'm just going to name a few of the things that we were involved in right before the holiday. And I know this is near District. Mesa Community College celebrated its 25th anniversary for the Rose Garden. If you haven't been there, it's significant and worth the visit. Gateway Bank in District 6, I'm covering other, celebrated their 15th anniversary. They're a great community partner. And Electrica Mechanica, does someone want to cover that? That was a big darn deal. That they commissioned their location here in District 6 to be their headquarters, and were able to do a little test ride in the, was it Solo?
Yep.
Solo, in the little Solo. Yeah, it's a little peppy thing. And in downtown Mesa, in my district, the Mesa Book Festival was at Benedictine University right before Christmas, and several of us ran books to the children, and I did some little Christmas shopping as well. And then our swearing-in ceremony last night, so that's about all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Pillsbury?
There has been a lot, but I'll just mention a couple. I wanted to thank our amazing police department. We had our Blue Santa event at Jefferson Elementary. There was also Falcon Hill Elementary, I think, is Councilmember, thank you. Councilmember Luna also had one in his district that they flew in the Blue Santa for the kids, and the police association brought toys, and it was just such a fun event. It's amazing, and it's such a fun thing to be a part of. So I wanted to thank them. And then United Food Bank had their holiday distribution the Monday before Christmas. Again, huge crowd of people came out, and it's just one of my favorite things to be a part of, and just to see the need that's out there and all the people that come and help help make sure that all of these families have food on their table for the holidays, which is so important. And then also just wanted to thank the police again for Custard with a Cop in my district that same day on the 21st. Huge gathering came. I thought, who wants to eat ice cream in December? A lot of people still want to eat ice cream in December. So lots of kids were out there and lots of people, and it was really fun. And I just appreciate when things are so busy that the police take the time to come out and do those activities in our district. So that's all that I will mention.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm good. Okay. I will underline, again, a great meeting last night, swearing in our new council, the holiday food distribution. I'm always amazed that we can literally get a couple of thousand cars through that parking lot with 50 pounds of food in their trunk, and so quickly. It's great to see. I appreciate our partnership with United Food Bank. I'm amazed every time we do that. And again, it's hard to overstate the electromechanical opening. That's a big deal. This is they relocated their corporate headquarters to Mesa. It's a huge facility, and it's going forward. It's fun for us to be able to say that we have a electric vehicle manufacturing facility in our city. I think there's going to be more coming as well. That's a great industry, and I'm glad that we're a part of it. Other things, I participated in and this might sound kind of weird, but a disc golf tournament to benefit the Public Safety Foundation. And it was just, I appreciate being introduced to that sport and the passionate community that supports disc golf. And I'm glad that we've got a great facility for that out at the Red Mountain Park area. At my age and stage, I might become a disc golfer, I think I found out. And pickleball maybe, yeah. And I appreciate the council coming out a couple of Sundays ago. We did the first menorah lighting in downtown Mesa. I thought that was great. To add that to our Merry Main Street celebration was very meaningful and much appreciated by the Jewish community. So I thank you for everyone who made that possible. And then also, I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in continuing to make Merry Main Street something that I think is becoming a tradition in our community. A lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of folks from out of town and in town came to downtown Mesa to celebrate the holidays, and I thought that's just great. I think that we've very proud that we've created a place in downtown Mesa for families to have that type of experience. Mr. Brady, what does our schedule of future meetings look like?
Thank you, Mayor. We will see you on Monday. So our next council meeting, the first council meeting of 2023 will be January 9th. We'll begin with our study session. Right now, we're scheduled for the 5:45 start time for the 5:15 study start time, and the council meeting starting at 5:45. Also want to remind the council that a week from today, a week from this Thursday, we'll be holding our strategic planning meeting with the council. That'll also begin at 7:30 a.m. With breakfast. We're going to keep you there for a little while. So the location will be 708 West Baseline Road. We've been there before. So invite the council to join us. We'll be in that same boardroom over on the west side where the Parks and Rec side is. And so we'll send out some more information there, but we'll gather there a week from today at 708 West Baseline Road. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to the strategic planning meeting. That'll be great, particularly for our new council members, I think, to hop in, and we're anxious to get the benefit of their thoughts, and also a great opportunity for us all just to kind of rethink the direction of our community. So looking forward to that. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Summers. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.